Hey y'all, welcome back to For the Fans, where tonight I am an honorary 5 p.m.er filling in for Kevin and joined as always on Mondays with CJ. CJ, how
What's
you doing tonight?
up? I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk about this past episode and talk about the things that are happening on the feeds. I don't normally get to be here on these nights, so I'm like excited to talk about what's really happening. So yeah.
I know you only get recaps. You don't get to talk about stuff that people don't get to see.
Right, exactly. I mean, we sometimes talk about it a little bit and talk about, some of the stuff that happened in the past week that didn't make it onto the episodes, but it's all, retrospective as to what has already happened. And so I'm excited to talk about these things that we're going to be seeing coming that aren't actually here yet. So, what do you
Same.
think about the episode last night and then just the season as a whole? Because we haven't gotten to talk since the cast assessment.
I feel like the season as a whole, people don't know how to play. Like, if that makes sense. So I feel
Yeah.
like with both HOHs, the HOHs aren't creating a alliance and having a committee of people to make their decisions with. They're kind of
Mhm.
just like, here's what I'm doing, and I trust you enough to tell you that. So because of that, we're in an alliance. They're not like leveraging their power.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really thought that this week might shape how you typically see a first HOH. I was like, okay, well, Angela was like a practice run, but the second HOH, we're going to really see like the house dynamics set up. But we're not getting that, which in a way, I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Like maybe it's going to set up for an interesting middle and end game. That's what I'm hopeful for. Like, I'm trying to not, do what I do in so many Big Brother seasons where I'm like already down on how things are going, because I do think there's been a lot of good things and even some improvements from past seasons. So I'm staying optimistic, which is not usually my MO.
Well, it's weird because you usually don't have consensus targets this early in the game.
Hmm.
Usually it's like the HOH has beef with one person and the rest of the house is like fine. Because that's
Yeah.
what we saw with Angela last week was she had beef with Matt. The rest of the house was like, yeah, he's kind of a condescending prick and he talks down to us. He can go. But we don't really care if Angela stays. And then this week, as we're about to talk about, the house, it's been like, we need to get rid of Lisa, has been like half the house. And the rest of the house is like, sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of am thinking that unless something drastically changes up, like one of the three people that end up nominated in this episode win HOH, that we're going to see like these, Matt's gone, and then the next three targets are already kind of lined out for whoever is in power. It's almost like, hey, this is going to be super easy if I win HOH. Like, this would not be a bad time to jump in on it because you're going to be able to have a little bit of a move, but nobody is going to care.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about quote unquote getting blood on your hands because all that really matters at the end of the day is being on the right side of the vote. And it seems like the House is pretty much in lockstep right now, which is it makes for boring television, but it probably will make the later part of the game more exciting because it's going to feel like genuine betrayal when someone goes home.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, that it is going to lead to that. And we'll get into it more whenever we talk about spoilers. But let's jump into the episode. We start off this episode with the morning of Matt. Oh, our dear Matt, he has been lost to the great wide world because he has not actually died, even though they are acting like it. I saw a tweet that said Mackenzie and Leah are crying over this man like they sent him off to the Hunger Games, not back to Georgia. So
Right?
um
It's been 10 days.
it's
Like,
been 10 days. Like
you
I
met the
don't.
dude on Tuesday of week before last.
Yeah. And I mean, my sis, you literally had the power in your hands to save his life. And
And
I mean, this might be a bit of a hot take because I know a lot of people would be like, no, save the power for yourself. But if you feel that strongly about one of your allies, why not just go ahead and just save him? You know what I mean? Yes, it
right.
may have only been delaying the inevitable by a week. I don't know. But my thing is, and once again, this is kind of getting into Quinn a little bit, but Quinn's power, which isn't in this episode at all, but Quinn is almost in a position where he's not going to be able to use his power because he's kind of good with everybody. Whereas Mackenzie may be kind of in the same position of like, this may just be a useless thing, which I don't necessarily hate because sometimes twists suck, but you had that ability. You could have just done it.
And I think she was correct in not using it because there's no reason to put your neck out there for someone on week 1. Like, you don't know if this person's going to sabotage your game or not.
Yes and no. You play it. I mean, if she could play it, does she play it unanimously, or would she have had to like stood up and been like, no, I'm playing America's veto?
I assume that it works like that, where the renom is, because she can use it even after the renom was named. I assume she would have to stand up after Angela says, I'm naming Matt. And she's like, oh, no, you're not, because I'm giving him this. Yeah. And then at that point, does Angela just go after Leah because they're all working together? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would have been interesting. I mean, I guess it's a thing of if she could have played it in secret, then you absolutely do it, because then there's going to be speculation, but nobody's going to know.
Right.
Except that Leah does. But I don't know. If you're that upset about him leaving, I would have just played the power, because who knows? You may not have another opportunity to. Like, obviously, she's not an initial nomination this week, so maybe she's not even going to use it this week. And then she only has 2 more chances. So I feel like because it is a power with a, expiration date, I think if the opportunity presents itself for one of your allies, jump on it.
And that's why I think that her power sucks compared to Quinn's power, because Quinn's power gives him the power of anonymity. If you wanted to have, a clearly better power and then a lesser power, why not have those two compete in another contest where the winner gets the good one, the loser gets the other one?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And also, just so disappointed that Quinn has told so many people about his power, because you have one of the besides the friendship bracelets, it's like a secret coup d'etat. Why would you have told anybody?
Yeah, I mean, once he told Angela, might as well have told the whole house, but still.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Hurt my head. And he was your number 1 pick. What do you think of that?
So, and I was talking about Big Brother with someone earlier today. I'm not necessarily down on Quinn, but I just wish he would stop talking a little bit. I still think he has the potential to win the game.
Yes, but I talked about this when we did our cast assessment. I think they're going to realize how smart he is, because you saw, as we go into this later on, and I'm sure we'll talk about it this episode, when they formed the Pentagon, they're like, we need someone smart. Let's get Quinn.
Yeah. And
that's good right now. It makes you a target later.
Yeah. Just depending on relationships and how they go. So another thing that we see is not only have the 2 obvious people of Leah and Mackenzie voted to keep Matt, but we saw Lisa also keep him. And Lisa is immediately like, I'm going to pretend that I didn't. And I think that the best way to pretend that you didn't is you don't need to be the one that brings it up.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. And then if someone says anything to you, be like, oh, I wonder who it was.
But you don't go around being like, who voted for Matt? Who voted for Matt? I don't know. It was obviously you. We all know it's you.
I obviously voted to evict him with unprompted. Sis, no, you didn't. Chelsea clocked it immediately.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone believed her, even though she's denied it.
But I don't think anyone is a fan of Lisa anyway, based on how the first week went. So even if, let's say that it was Tucker who did it, he could have pinned it on her and they all would have thought it was her anyway.
Right. I think if you're Lisa, you have to be like, well, I've made my bed. Let me lie in it. I'm down to ride with Mackenzie and Leah because, let me at least try to build something, because Lisa has No one in the house. So why do you not just double down and be like, these are my people. Like, I'm going to tell y'all, I voted with you. I wanted Matt to stay. Like, I'm not in on anything. This is our core, because 3 people as a little blog isn't a bad thing to be a part of.
3 people in a group of 15, like, yes, all 3 of you could be the target this week, or you guys could skate by because someone pissed off whoever won HOH, and now you're ignored this week. And then you're
Right.
ignored another week because now you have infighting between 2 groups and you're just off to the side minding your own business.
Yeah. So just like you said, not necessarily great gameplay by a lot of people. And Lisa is like the ringleader of not great gameplay.
Yes. Well,
Right.
second behind Angela.
Yeah, they're both bad. Do you have anything else to say about Matt as he rides off into the sunset?
I was almost right on the predictions with Matt and Mackenzie being a showmance, and I was 100% correct with him leaving early.
Yep, you did. You guessed that one. Matt was one of the people that I was highest on preseason, and that definitely didn't pan out for me. So sad for my draft team on here, and also my real one that I run because I picked him. So
yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my not making it to jury with Matt being gone and Angela, Lisa, and Kenny all being targets.
yeah. Yep. I mean, like personally with Matt, I think he's a good guy, probably deep down. Like he doesn't do anything like deeply offensive, but he wasn't great at the game of Big Brother, so sayonara.
I do wonder if Matt would be better if he came back in like 5 years and had some life experience, because a lot of the things that seemed to rub the other house guests the wrong way was just youthful bravado.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll never know because he's probably not coming back for All Stars.
Yeah, I mean, they have done less weird things, or more weird things rather, of like bringing back David, who didn't even get to play at all. So I would not say that it's a 0% chance that Matt comes back, but I'd say it's extremely unlikely.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see anything from Matt that I need to see again.
Except he might show up on the challenge because he has muscles.
Yeah, and he's pretty.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Equitable comps continue. So we head into the HOH competition. We got one person that actually is really gunning for it in Mackenzie, and probably Leah a little bit. And we got some people that they don't really want this, like in Chelsea. So of course, who wins? Chelsea. But I'm excited. Like, how long has it been to have different winners in every single competition so far? We've had Quinn win, we've had Mackenzie win, then you have Angela, Lisa, Chemo, Chelsea. Like, we have 6 of the remaining 14 people that have a comp win now.
Yes, and it's funny because watching last season, which I'm not going to lie, when we did the preview, I forgot Jag won because I put all of last season out of my mind immediately. But my wife was really excited because everything was a physical comp last year. Like everything was catered towards the men, and not just the men, but like the comp beast physical men.
Mm-hmm.
And this season, early at least, we have these equitable comps where it's like games of chance, games of memory, guessing games, things that give other people an equal footing. So I'm really excited to see if this continues, because it sucks to watch 1 or 2 people have all the power. I want balanced gameplay so that, I can expect the unexpected.
Exactly. And I mean, it keeps the dynamic of the house more fun if they don't even know who's necessarily going to win. It was at the end of last season, it was like, who's going to win this time, Matt or Jag? Because they're just trading off. Like, one wins HOH, one wins veto. And, it's super boring. And we talked about it a little bit Thursday. Like, I don't have any problem with there just being a wide variety of comps where some are going to be catered more towards somebody like, Cam or Cedric, someone that looks a little more athletic.
Yes.
It's fine for there to be a few comps that cater that way, just like it's fine for there to be a few comps like memory or whatever that some people are just going to naturally be more inclined for, or a puzzle that involves a little bit of athletic stuff. It's fine for there to be some, but it just needs to be even.
Yeah, like it was cool to get the pressure cooker back last season.
Right.
It was cool to, like we're going to get the wall comp every year. It's cool to bring back those classic physical comps, but I also want more comps where you kind of have to declare your side, i.e., you answer a question and then you pick the next two people that come
Yeah.
up. We only got that once last year, and that kind of makes everyone show their cards, which makes for more interesting gameplay.
Right. And they did it in the double eviction where, they probably didn't even have as much time to stew on it as they would have normally in a regular season.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I am all for it. I am for the fact that, it gets down to the end. It's 3 women. So like, okay, this is amazing.
Yeah. So is the story in 3 weeks going to be why did the men suck? Or is it going to be that, equitable comps are here to stay?
I think it's going to be that equitable comps are here to stay. Like, I mean, and once again, this is me being optimistic about Big Brother, but I feel like maybe they have listened to their fan base a little bit because, especially coming out of last season, everybody was like, oh my God, like you have these 2 amazing women at the end of the game in, Mama Fee and Sari, and they had no shot because they could not physically beat 2 athletic men that were half their age. They had no chance.
Yeah, like when they got to 3 or 4, I was really hoping that they would do the chess comp where you have to move like a knight until you box somebody in. No, we got some like underwater swimming comp. I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, like they have no chance of winning.
Yeah.
So, I feel optimistic that they are listening to the fan base and that it's just going to continue in this path of being more equitable, whatever that means,
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Anything else about the comp? Did you like this one? I thought it was kind of fun. Like everybody does like to watch videos of pets. And I like the ones that I can play along with and actually be like, oh, okay, well, look at me. I don't know the answer.
Anytime I get to watch cats fall down and horses take out children, I'm in. So
yeah.
More of those.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fun, but I definitely missed the question about where T Court was like, I'm just going to like do some analyzing here. I know she had on a hat. I know she had on a coat. Therefore, I'm going to assume she had on gloves. I was like, I didn't see the coat. I only saw the hat. So I was like, she had on a hat. She didn't have on gloves.
And it's funny because I was like, beluga, and that was it. I wasn't paying attention to the child at that point.
I paid attention to the pink hat, but not the rest of her attire. So I thought it was fun. Keep it up, Big Brother. Like I'm impressed that I'm having so many positive things to say.
The only thing that I will say is they could have ran that comp during the episode. I know that we got the AI competition, but we could have cut one of the segments on the will Matt stay, will Kenny stay, blah, 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 blah. And I could have gotten that comp, at the end of the episode instead of having to wait until Sunday to see that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're shaping up that we're never going to get a live HOH comp as long as the AI arena is going, because eventually this twist will end because, it's hard to put up 3 people until the, end of the game. So I'm sure it will probably go until jury starts.
Yep.
But then maybe we'll get some live HOH comps. Yeah, I hate not knowing when the episode ends. I really do.
Yeah, because what's the first thing I do after the episode ends? I go to the feeds to see if they're back up. Oh no, it's still cat and dog videos. So then I got to go online and wait.
Yep. It's very, very unfortunate. One thing that I wanted to talk about that we did not talk about Thursday was how did you feel about literally the 1 minute of strategizing / campaigning that they got in between announcing the AI arena winner and voting? I was like, this is dumb.
I thought it was
just go straight into the vote or give them time.
Well, I thought it was dumb, but I also think that part of that was nobody knew how it worked. Mm-hmm. So I think next week or this coming week, we'll see more somebody pulling someone into the bathroom to have a quick conversation versus this time they thought that they were going straight into speeches, not realizing that like, oh, I can talk to you for 3 minutes. I do think it's stupid that Julie made them sit down before doing the speeches. Like, give them a commercial break to have a whisper campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, give them a little bit of time. Like I need at least like 3 to 5 minutes. 1 minute, that was actually the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I kind of love the idea of the AI arena. I think it's a fun little twist. But I hated that part of it. I was like, either don't play this competition live, let it have happened earlier, where feeds go down, they do the AI arena, they have time to campaign, talk, whatever, even if it's an hour before. Or you got to give them basically like a double eviction type of scenario, like you said, a commercial break where they've got 5 minutes to talk about things before they have to make decisions, because they have had a whole week to discuss the options. But this is a game for $750,000. Like,
realistically, what they could do is do the AI arena competition during the day, and then either sequester them after finding out the results, so the people in the house don't find out until live, or have them do the competition and then just announce the winner then.
Yeah. I think the execution part of it needs a little tweaking, but it's not going to happen this season. But it will be interesting to see this Thursday how it is utilized, because you're right, 100%. There are going to be conversations that are had where people are pulled out of the room, I would imagine.
And it's fun.
Or like broadly being like, hey, this is why I think you need to keep me, and like full on campaign in front of everybody.
Well, with that AI arena and also just the lack of time, I don't think it mattered this episode, because I think the only time they would have really needed to have a conversation is if it was Chemo and Kenny. But even then, I think Kenny was gone.
Yeah.
Like, I think this week, if not to jump too far ahead, but if Lisa wins, then maybe we're having a conversation between the two people who are on the block, which we'll talk about in spoilers. But
even with where nominations are, in case people aren't here for spoilers, with where the nominations are, I think these are 3 people that the majority of the house wants out. And so with the different scenarios, they might want to have just a few minutes to discuss it, where it could possibly change. Probably not, but then, like I said, I hated the 1 minute. Either go straight into the vote or give them time. 1 minute is done.
Because with Chelsea's 3 nominees, I don't think anyone is going to be sad to watch any of them walk out the door, whether it's Kenny, Lisa, or Angela.
Right. Exactly. All right. Moving on. Lisa versus Tucker. So this has been brewing, like Tucker says, literally from introductions. Tucker especially has a deep-seated hate towards Lisa. He does not like her cooking, which the majority of the house agrees with. But then it's, her sprinkling the glitter on stuff, and just her as a person rubs Tucker the wrong way. And they actually took the time to do a whole segment dedicated to all the annoying shit that Lisa has done to bother Tucker.
Do you think that Lisa is annoying?
Yes.
So it's funny because I understand why Tucker loathes her. Like, she doesn't bother me, but I understand why he could find her annoying. My wife was like, Tucker has it in for this woman. This is toxic masculinity. It's bad look for him. And I'm like, nah, because I know people like Lisa, like not exactly like Lisa, but there are people like Lisa that exist in the world that I'm like, I cannot stand them. And if I was in the house, they would be my target from off rip. They got to go.
Yeah. And I don't think Lisa is a bad person. So I'm saying this totally in a game sense of, you are living in a house where different personalities are together and you don't have much space to escape them. Lisa is someone that would drive me total crazy. Well, and I mean, honestly, this sounds terrible, but from the minute I saw Lisa's picture with the butterfly clips, I was like, no, it's a no from me. This is not someone that I am probably personally going to mesh with. So I feel Tucker's pain.
Well, it's funny because me and Kevin talked about it last week, because we knew Tucker had it in for Lisa. I thought that he was a little bit aggressive with how he went after her to Chelsea, like pitching Lisa needs to go home. I think it's a bad look for our boy Tucker, but at the end of the day, if nobody likes Lisa, you may think you're quote unquote masterminding something, but it looks like the wheels are already in motion.
Yeah. And I think it's a thing of where enough people, like you said, enough people are like, yeah, that's fine with me. I don't really like Lisa either. And once again, this is not a thing of saying like she sucks as a person, like nobody should be friends with her. How does she have friends in real life? Nothing like that at all. Like I'm sure she is perfectly lovely, and there's lots of people that she's going to have things in common with. Just there's enough people in this house that it doesn't work.
I feel bad for Lisa because Lisa is getting the treatment that I expected Joseph to get.
Yeah.
Like just kind of being the outsider, being the quirky one that doesn't fit in. And he seems to have fit in fine, and she has not.
Yeah, and and I worried about that a little bit with Quinn, that maybe he could be that person. But he also has fit in really well. I think he has like this really, self-deprecating humor that a lot of people are drawn to. And Lisa just has enough quirks about her that a lot of people just don't enjoy. And it is hard, and I do not like to be the kind of person that's like, these people suck, they're bullies, whatever. But we're going to get into the feeds more in a little bit, but there is definitely a call that maybe some of the girls are being a little mean towards Lisa. And
Yes.
it's one of those situations where you hope that if you are in that scenario, that like the golden rule, you treat people how you would want to be treated. Like nobody wants to be talked about behind their back, but then you're also kind of playing this game. Not that I'm trying to make excuses for people. I feel like there's just a very delicate line that you can walk where you can be like, okay, this shit is annoying me. It annoys me when she puts glitter in my food. It annoys me when she's sprinkling, moon water or whatever. Those are valid things to talk about, and they are valid reasons to not want to continue to leave with someone. But as you are walking that line, it can very easily tip over into, okay, like this girl's getting some unnecessary hatred.
I don't know, man. Doing a medicine ball workout in the kitchen is kind of wild, especially for a chef.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really annoying things that she does. Like it's undeniable, and you can understand where a lot of people are feeling this way. She's doing a lot of things. Ma'am, I am a germaphobe. I don't care if we are contained in the Big Brother house. Do not put something from your hands into my food. What are you doing? Don't do that. Don't touch my bed.
She's a chef. She's professionally trained.
No. Absolutely not. And so, there's a lot of things that I think are extremely valid. And I thought it was a fun segment with Tucker. I don't agree with your wife on this one. I don't feel like it's, toxic masculinity. Because once again, it's that line that you have to be able to walk where, Tucker has to be able to say people he doesn't like and he doesn't want in the house, regardless of their, gender or anything else, and it not be, something that boils down to that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think this is women targeting other women or toxic masculinity. I think that she might just be annoying.
Yeah. And there's unfortunately people like that.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on this little segment here?
Man.
Chelsea literally gifted this gift horse of like, Lisa? Okay, she's already been up once. Tucker wants her out. This is easy for me. And she didn't vote with the house. Like, why wouldn't I put her up?
Which reason do I need week 2?
Right, exactly. So congratulations, Chelsea. Like you have the easiest HOH ever.
Yep.
All right. Last thing we're going to talk about, real alliances forming. This has been a very, very unique season because we have not had that HOH yet that has just kind of cemented how the rest of the season is going to go by getting this firm alliance in. And this is possibly the realist-ish alliance, but not really.
I thought that Angela Quinn was going to be a real final two from the beginning when he told her about his deep fake HOH.
Yeah.
And then she went and had a mental breakdown in the house against Matt. So, which makes her a liability, and Quinn is smart enough to distance himself from her. So now Chelsea is doing what HOH is doing, as I talked about earlier. She's doing it in a different way because I don't think there's been as much communication. But she's using her power to find who she can trust and then use that to make an alliance, and then hopefully they can work together in secret. And they're doing really good making it an onion alliance, where first it's her and Cam and Takor, and then you go in and you're like,
her, Cam, and Cedric,
yes,
3 seats.
And then you go and bring in Quinn, and who was their fifth they brought in?
Brooklyn.
Yeah. So like, and Brooklyn clocked it. Well, it seems like they already had a group and they're bringing me in, but I'm hoping this is a real alliance. Well, they have a 3, and now they have 2 more. So now you have a 5. Maybe you go bring in 1 or 2 more to have a 7, and you have your layers to make it to the end. So this might be a real alliance.
Yeah. So getting into it more, and this is a little bit spoilerish, but I think honestly, my personal take on things is like, if you are the type of person that is listening to, a breakdown of a Big Brother episode, 24 hours later, you probably care to hear spoilers talked about anyways. But if not, then, maybe you want to exit because this is not something that's been shown on the TV show, but it's also so old that I don't exactly feel like it's a spoiler. Anyways, we saw the 3 C's form organically, like Cam, Cedric, Chelsea. And I think that the biggest problem with how this group of the Pentagon was formed is that it didn't happen organically of like, okay, hey, it's the 3 of us, but we need to bring in more people. And like, hey, let's get Quinn in and start having a conversation with him and let it kind of just happen natural. It's a thing if they like kind of cornered him like, hey, Quinn, it's you, me, he's told what it is. So Quinn also has the same reservations of Brooklyn of like, this was something that was already formed and that I was added to. And Quinn and Brooklyn have compared notes, and they know that those 3 were already together before us. So there's already this distrust in the alliance.
And it's funny because
I don't think it's going to last.
But it's funny because Quinn and Brooklyn, who are both intelligent from what we've seen, although unrelated side note, it seemed like every shot they'd show Brooklyn in, she was in a towel. Like, does she wear any clothes? I know she does because I watch the feeds, but they show her in a towel a lot. Yeah. Anyway, if I'm Quinn and Brooklyn, I think I'm trying to bring in 2 backups so that if we make it to 7, we can take out those 3 because we already know we're at the bottom of those 3.
Yeah, no, that's a really good thing. And I think it's a thing of like, they realize that that's like, okay, yes. Like Brooklyn said, I'm never going to say no to an alliance. So yes.
Yep.
But I'm also going to work on all this other stuff on the side. And I think that is where I worry about Quinn a little bit as my winner pick. And he has done that to, 100. He, has a little thing with Brooklyn. He's got a little thing forming with, some other people. And so it's good. But I think I like your idea better of like, hey, let's say yes to this, but then we need to be the ones to suggest, okay, let's bring in a couple more so that we have the majority, and we need to select who it is.
Yes.
So that if we can get to that point, like you said, we have the majority, not them.
Yeah, and like this could lead to something of a final 2 for Quinn and Brooklyn, where you say, you go grab a partner, I'll go grab a partner. We sit on the block with them and they go home and we stay. But we also have them where if it's 7 of us left, we can take out the other 3.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think how real this 5 ends up staying together depends. Like, Quinn and Brooklyn might be like, oh, I don't know, like this may not be the best thing for us. But, if Cam or Cedric wins HOH next week, this 5 is looking really good for me to kind of more lock into, because if they're going to be winning things, I want to be in on that.
And I don't think one of the nice things is for this group of five is I don't think any of them are really going to piss anyone off. Where I think they're about as close to locks for jury as you're going to get when you
Yeah.
look at the landscape of the house.
Yeah. Like, I would find it very, very hard to see any of the five of them not making jury. Like, they're all five well liked by everybody.
Yeah, and unless someone wins and they're like, I'm going after perceived strong players or people who just seem real cozy, they're probably fine.
Yeah. But with kind of how the first 2 weeks have played out, I don't know if that is going to happen. You know, I kind of can see this trajectory of the game continuing with, okay, one of those three that is originally nominated goes this week, and then the next two go, you know, whatever order. You know, maybe one of them is able to like snake through after they've been put up 3 or 4 times in a row, where,
Yep.
okay, we've got to be the first ones to take a shot, and let's let this person, you know, they're no threat. They don't have anybody.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like kind of the next 2-ish, 2 to 3-ish evictions are kind of already set up unless one of them wins HOH. And then we're talking about jury.
Yeah, I think the real question will be is if jury is at 9 instead of 11 again this season.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope. Because other than that, I think it's kind of we kind of can already see who's in jury and who's not.
Right. Yeah.
And of the people who are kind of on the bottom right now, I think the only one who can weasel their way out of it would be Leah, because she seems to be pretty well regarded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she's liked. Anything else about this episode? We do see obviously Chelsea's nominations where she has that conversation with Angela, where Angela's like, I see the writing on the wall. I know I'm probably going to be a nominee. It's okay. So not really a pawn volunteer, but more of like an acceptance.
Yeah.
Kenny did actually volunteer to go up. And then Lisa, easy target. Bye, girl.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about what she decided to do. MJ/Mackenzie does tell her about her power. And Chelsea is like, what should I do? Should I try to flush it out? Or should I try to, you know, keep Mackenzie off the block and use her in my favor? Are you happy
What would you
with
do?
her? I think she made the right decision. I think like, this is a girl that doesn't have a lot of stuff working for her in the house. Like, she just lost her flirt mance. And, you know, we know that she has a strong friend in Leah, but like, let me also work some side stuff too. And, you know, maybe Mackenzie I don't put her up this week. And if I get put on the block next week, maybe Mackenzie's willing to use it on me.
Well, and that's another thing is they did screw up the recruitment of Quinn and of Brooklyn. Maybe you do your organic plan with Mackenzie and Leah to bring them in.
Yeah.
And then make it seem like, oh, the five of us just naturally came together. Let's work together that way.
Yeah.
And now you have 7 votes.
Yeah, like you two are already together. And if Chelsea is the one that brings them in, like that puts Chelsea in this really, really great position of like, I'm already in this 3 with Cam and Cedric, and I could also be in this 3 with Mackenzie and Leah. And if we could make it to 5, then I can choose which direction I want to go.
Yes.
That would
And
be
that's
great.
and that's how you use HOH, which is what I've been talking about is like they're not using it the right way to leverage power this season.
Right.
They're using it and they are creating alliances, but I think that you can be smarter about it. And I don't think we've seen that the first 2 weeks.
Right. I don't think Chelsea's done a terrible job. I'd give her like a B-. You know, she didn't create any enemies, but she didn't necessarily propel herself forward.
I mean, considering Angela got an F-, everyone else looks like they're passing if they go right after her.
Yes. All right. Anything else about the episode before we really talk about spoilers, even though we've kind of been doing it?
Nah, I mean, I think the episode was ultimately forgettable. But I think a lot of that has to do with how lockstep the house has been. I think we're a few weeks away from real entertainment.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so let's get into the spoilers section. So if you don't want to know what has been happening, where the week is actually shaping up, now's your time to head out before we start. All right, so as we know from the episode, Chelsea is HOH. She has nominated Angela, Kenny, and Lisa. They competed in the Power of Veto competition, and we have another new winner in Kenny.
I saw that and I was like, man, they just let anybody win competitions in this house.
Yeah, I mean, literally everybody is going to win something. Like everybody gets a participation ribbon.
Yes.
You all were here, you all win a competition. But once again, I love it. Like I love that I didn't pay much attention to what the competition was. But I love that it was something else that I know it was something he said something about shoving his fingers in something. I don't know. So good for him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what the competition is because of how, equitable they've been so far. I'm also very curious to see how he uses his veto win in the House because we know that obviously he's coming down, but we don't know if he uses it as a way to maybe curry favor. He did volunteer to be a pawn.
So this is kind of interesting. I have not watched much of the feeds. I follow along on Twitter and listen to the live feed updates every morning, but I have not done a lot of watching on my own. But Kenny, after he wins POV, Chelsea has a conversation with him where she's like, hey, who do you think I should put up? Like, you won the veto, you tell me who. And Kenny's like, I don't want to do that. But what he does, which I think is really, really smart, is he's like, I can tell you who I don't want you to put up. I don't want you to put up Cedric. And I think the fact that he says someone that is, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but or if he just looked into it, bass backwards, but whatever. He says someone that she is close with. And so I think that probably did tick him up a little bit in Chelsea's standings of oh, okay, so you're cool with Cedric. Or it could, set off alarm bells too of oh shit, what is Cedric doing on the side?
Yeah, but I mean, if you trust someone that I trust, it means I might be able to use you later.
Right. Yeah, so, I think it's ultimately good for Kenny in the long run.
Yes. And maybe, as we talked about, he's one of the three, and it's being Lisa, Angela, and him. One of them is going to, one of them will probably go home each of the next 3 weeks. Yeah. He's now the lowest on the list of who I want out.
I think that he has the most potential to be the one that skates through. If one of the three of them can make it through to jury, I think Kenny has the most likelihood of doing that because Kenny doesn't rub anyone the wrong way. He's just there, Angela actively pisses people off. And, the feeds were down so much of the day on Sunday because they are not showing Angela on them. Whatever that means, I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that assumes the worst. It seems like they are trying to do their best to protect people. And I don't necessarily so many people are speculating that means that she did something horrible and they're trying to not let it be shown. I think it's that because of how toxic the Big Brother community is, that they are just trying to protect her from the toxicity. That's what I'm hoping for. But I think that enough people actively dislike Angela and actively dislike Lisa that they are going to be the two targets week 1 and week 2. You know what I mean?
Yes. If Angela doesn't win, she's going home for the AI arena. Or Lisa has to be in the mindset of if I don't win, I'm going home in the AI arena. That's what both of them have to be thinking.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think at this point in time, so with Kenny winning the veto, he's obviously pulling himself off. She's going to have to be nominating someone that is most likely a pawn. She does get a pawn volunteer, and today she has nominated Tucker. And we can get into the specifics of Tucker, but it is looking so far excuse me, that it is probably going to be Angela or Lisa if, if Tucker does not win the AI arena, like whichever one of them is left is going to be voted out. And if they're there together, I think it can shift multiple times between now and then.
And I think Tucker has to be the favorite in the AI arena because, hey, new winner again.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be Tucker so that we can keep this streak going.
But to your point about, both Lisa and Angela just having enemies in the house, I think Tucker, like, he has almost all of the guys' votes because they've been broing out. He's going to have Mackenzie's vote, which means he's going to have Leah's vote. So that's 6 or 7 votes right there. Like, I think he's pretty safe.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty well liked. I mean, there is that slight possibility that, somebody is like, do we pass up another opportunity? Like, look at this, physically strong man. Are we gonna pass up the opportunity? We're gonna take out Lisa over Tucker?
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes Lisa. I mean, I personally, if I'm not that closely aligned with Tucker, if his ass volunteers to be up there and he stays there, I'm like, we're going to take out Lisa or Angela over Tucker. Like, we've got to get this man out. He's well liked. Like, he cooks. He's attractive. He's funny. Like, everybody kind of likes him. He's got to go.
But if I'm one of the guys, and especially if I'm one of the, like, quote unquote comp beast, I want him there as a meat shield because the less comp beasts there are, the more of a target I am.
He's not leaving.
Yeah. Cam and Cedric, I think there's no way he's gone. Leah Mackenzie, that's 4.
Yeah, Leah has revealed that she has like a junior high crush on Tucker. So I don't think she's gonna vote out her eye candy.
Nope.
So I think he's safe, but please don't volunteer to be the pawn. Like, you just saw what happened with Matt. Why are you going to chance fate and do that to yourself? Make it make sense, CJ.
I think because Matt wasn't a volunteer, Matt was a target, and it was very clear Matt was a target. Tucker probably feels pretty good about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if there is ever a week that the pawn is most likely to be safe, it is this one. But I don't like it. Don't volunteer to be the pawn.
No, never.
Let me think about some other spoilers from the feeds that we need to talk about. There is a little bit possibly of a women's thing forming. So we are seeing the girls like having this hangout, Chelsea, Leah, Mackenzie, and Brooklyn. So they're kind of like this, and T-Core too, I believe. They're kind of like, is this something that should be happening?
And I like how they're coming together because it's not one of those, we're coming together because we're women and we need to take out the men. It's more of the like, oh, we like each other. Yeah. Maybe we could work together.
Yeah. It is what we've been talking about, like where it does seem like something that's a little more organic is kind of forming. And one like weak highlight thing that has been happening is that we obviously have seen where Cam, Cedric, and Chelsea are a 3, but Chelsea has been getting a little sketched out by Cam and how close he's getting to Leah. And so there's kind of this little wedge forming, but like ironically or unironically, I don't know, Leah is almost like replacing how Chelsea feels about Cam, where she's been, because of her, she's doubting Cam's loyalty. But like, hey, I kind of like this girl. I can see why you like her.
Yeah, and maybe that's for the best. And it goes back to what I was saying before we got to spoilers, which is like, maybe you do bring in Mackenzie and Leah. And at some point down the road, you either choose or you guys just work together.
Yeah. And I mean, whenever you said that, it made me really think like this would be such an easy sell because Cam likes her. So yeah. I think they would easily be down for you pitching that as another 5.
Yeah, because you saw it with I can't remember who did it, but it was a 2, and then they brought in a 1, And then they go and they bring in another one. And then it's like, no matter what, we have a final 3 with, 2 different people. Here's your final 5 with 2 sets of 2.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Yeah. It's basically like what Memphis did in All-Stars. It's just you don't
There we
name
go.
your lines the same thing.
Yes.
Chelsea
make sure you
doesn't
don't
need to
screw
bring
it
in Mackenzie and Leah and be like, the Pentagon?
Yeah, no, you called this one the, I don't know, the 5-point star or something
Yeah,
stupid.
exactly. Yeah, no. So I think it's fun. I think, kind of what we talked about in the beginning is that we're going to see this consensus vote where it's going to be unanimous, whichever one it ends up being. Either Lisa or Angela is going to go this week. And unless that person wins HOH, the other one is probably going next. And if it's not them, it's probably going to be Kenny, where I think we're going to see at least 2 of those 3 people evicted in the next 2 weeks. Now, whether the third one actually gets evicted or not, I don't know. But I think for the next 2 weeks, it's going to kind of be coasting. But without like this really big, strong alliance and kind of even nobody's having to show their cards right now, I do think we're just setting up for a really interesting mid and end game.
Yeah, I as much as I'm not feeling the season right now and I've been bored with it, I am excited for the prospects because when you have 10 people who are just cool with each other and everyone gets along and no one has really had to make any choices yet, when you get to the point where it's like, now you got to eat your own, it's going to make for some great gameplay because especially that these alliances are coming organically, there's going to be some real sense of betrayal.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it, a lot of angst this season for,
there's
I don't know who to get rid of.
Like, interweaving. Like, you've got Quinn and Leah who are really close. Leah's really close with Mackenzie,
Yeah, Mackenzie's getting close with Tucker, but Leah is also tight with Cam. Like, it's going to be interesting.
And so, it's like there's not this big group, but there's a lot of like 2s and 3s that are all kind of interweaving. And then you've got Quinn over here, like kind of working with everybody. But it seems like now he's kind of really trying to lock it down with Chemo and T-Core, which I think is interesting and fun because I have been probably the most surprised by Chemo and T-Core because I didn't think that I was necessarily going to like either one of them. Chemo's energy that he brought in his interviews and then the Chemo that we are having on the show, they do not have the same person. No. I do not understand.
Because it's funny because
Chemo in the interviews was annoying as fuck.
Well, watching Chemo, that's what I would do if I was trying to get on the show. Watching Chemo in the house is how I am. I'm pretty chill. Like, I'm just here to hang out and have a good time.
Yeah, he may have just gaslit them and been like, I'm going to be so loud and energetic and, the gay that you want. And then he's like, yeah, no, I'm going to be myself. And myself isn't like that.
Yeah.
So, I love Quinn working with T-Core and Chemo, but I also a little bit don't like it because I think T-Core and Chemo are going to be loyal to each other over Quinn.
100%. And
so I don't like the idea of you joining a 3 that's already a 2.
Yeah, but I think Quinn knows he needs numbers. So if he's cool with this pair over here and this 3 over here and this one over here, guess what? Quinn never goes on the block.
Yeah.
And Quinn doesn't have to make a decision until 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Which is a great spot to be.
It's going to be interesting. I am going to remain cautiously optimistic that, we get an interesting, week or 2 before jury and then an interesting end game. It's going to happen. Yes. I'm speaking it into existence, y'all.
And also more equitable comps down the road.
Yes, just keep it up. Keep it up what you're doing, Big Brother producers. All right. Anything else, CJ?
Nope. I'm just excited for the week to end, Lisa to go home, and then we'll see what happens because something new is always on the horizon.
Yeah. So maybe we're going to lose Lisa. Maybe we're going to lose Angela. One of the 2 of them is almost for sure going to go home. And then we'll see what a new week brings. But it's kind of a bow on this one. Just got to see which one it's going to be.
Yup.
All right. Well, we will be back live on Thursday after the eviction. And then, of course, next Monday, Kevin should be back and joining CJ for another 5 p.m.ers. And we will just continue this little process till we find us a winner.
I'm okay with that.
All right, y'all. Make sure you subscribe so that you get a notification when we go live, and join us back here next week. Bye, y'all.